miracle of nature. An ever-changing landscape of water and mist. The water that flows over it is fossil water from the end of the last great ice age. Over its 10,000-year life, it has eroded, retreating almost 7 miles to where we experience its wonder today. It is the greatest waterfall in the Northern Hemisphere and a source of life and myth. In another 10,000 years, it will be gone, lost to future generations. No one knows when humans first came to Niagara, but it is believed that they arrived almost 12,000 years ago, as the glaciers of the last ice age receded, leaving enough water in their wake to create the Great Lakes. By 3,000 years ago, it was the Iroquois who had settled here. They were also known as the Haudenosaunee, or People of the Longhouse. Over time, they formed a peaceful coalition of 5 tribes. To the ancient people of Niagara, the greatest of the spirits were the thunder beings who lived under the falls. The name Niagara is said to originate from the native word Anguirus. It is from the oral traditions of these people that the story of Lualaba, the Maiden of the Mist, comes down to us through time. As a young woman, Lualaba left her village on the river. Some say that she lost her husband, and thus her hope of a happy life. Some say that her father promised her as a wife to the king of the Anguirus nation. It was a great honor, but Lualaba could not love him, for she was in love with another. As she did not wish to bring shame to her family and dishonor to the wise old elder, she was forced to leave her village. Another legend tells of a great snake that lived beneath the river and came to the village to poison the water so he could eat the dead. It was a heroic Lualaba who volunteered to offer herself to the thunder gods in hopes they would help her people. It is said that it was He-No, greatest of all the thunder beings, who caught her and then killed the snake with a thunderbolt. Other versions of the story say the spirit of Lualaba returned to tell her people of the snake so they could destroy it. As it floated downstream, its head and tail caught on opposite sides of the river, creating the semicircle of the falls. Whatever the truth of the legend, there are those who say you can see her still in the rainbow of the mist beneath the falls. It wasn't until the late 17th century that the Europeans came to Niagara. Among them, French explorer Robert Cavelier, better known as La Salle, who would later explore the Mississippi River and Gulf of Mexico. La Salle was charged with developing the lucrative fur trade with the Iroquois. He also dreamed of finding a mythical land route to China. He and his men became snowbound near the Great Lakes in the severe winter of 1678. Franciscan Recollect priest, Father Louis Hennepin, recorded the extraordinary events of the expedition.
The waters of the gorge are too treacherous to navigate. We have abandoned our ship. We have entered that portion of the river Captain Cavalier supposes to be the route to his China passage. By our calculation, it connects 2 Great Lakes. But it is clear God has deemed these passages not to be gained with ease. The Indians tell us of an overland route to the Lake Bow. The trail traverses a 300-foot escarpment the natives call Crawl on All Fours. Once on top, we will build a new craft and go on. For 3 days now, the wind has carried a most frightful noise. The Indians murmur among themselves of spirits that inhabit this place. The camp is beset with fear. What God has willed for us, we know not, but we shall march forward, sustained by our faith. In all our journey, nothing I've seen or imagined can be referenced to compare with the wonder of this place the Indians call Thundering Water, Niagara.
With the coming of the explorers, the Europeans learned what the natives had always known. Water was the way west. It was perhaps inevitable that conflict would arise. There were a number of reasons for the War of 1812 between the youthful United States and the British Empire. The British had blocked trade between the Americans and their ally France. American sailors had been captured and forced to serve in the British Navy. And the British supported native tribes who fought American expansion into new territories. Perhaps, too, Americans had an eye on the rich lands above their northern border. On July 25, 1814, the Battle of Lundy's Lane, one of the bloodiest battles of the war, took place very close to the falls.
How many artillery people? Field? Stationary?
They brought it down from the falls. I couldn't tell you for certain. We got a couple of them, but just couldn't get
Smash your musket! Forward light section! Light infantry ready! Fire at will!
All told, the battle claimed more than 250 lives and more than 1,100 missing or wounded. The British had the better of the battle, but would soon lose the war. While the war did not solve all issues between the powers of the old and new worlds, by 1846, the boundaries between the United States and Canada had been drawn. By the 1850s, the frontier was gone. Niagara soon became the mecca for the ordinary folk. In the winter, you could walk across the frozen river below the falls, what locals called the Ice Bridge, where there were souvenir huts and food vendors. In summer, you could ride the steamboat right up to the falls.
How'd you do? Welcome to Niagara. Thank you.
Presidents, painters, poets, even a future king of England, all came to the new playground. A few brave souls had other ideas and would risk all for a moment of glory.